building wealth by intention has been our motto for 10 years now.
Yeah.
Kind of talk to us about why we chose that and the importance of what it means.
Yeah, well, I mean, the big thing, right? We were looking at it, and intention, right? We always want to have intention in what we're doing, regardless of what that is. We want to be intentional about it. You have to get up, you have to focus on what it is you got to do, and you got to execute. So intention was always big, but what do we want to do with that intention? So we wanted to build wealth. And did we want to just build wealth monetarily? Well, of course, that's part of it, right? But wealth we talk about is so much more than just money. It's experiences. It's the abundant life. Jesus talks about, I came to give them life and to give it to them abundantly. So what does that look like? How are we living into that? What are we doing with our families? Are we getting to spend that time? Are we getting to enjoy that time? Building that wealth allows us to do that. It frees up those extra days, that time. It allows us to have those experiences, to take the trips, to just go to the lake for the day, to catch that extra big fish, whatever it is that you like to do. Maybe it's going for a run, which, by the way, how did the half marathon work
Pretty
out
good,
for you?
pretty good. It was slow, but I made it to the finish line. So
Good. That's what counts.
That's good. Yeah. So building wealth by intention. Yeah, that's been our slogan for many years. And for me, what is wealth? Wealth means a lot of things to a lot of people. I've always described to Zig Ziglar's wheel of life, where it's your physical, your spiritual, your career, family, and friends. And for me, I like to judge myself often on 1 through 10 on each of those, right? And I think people that are performing at a high level are in the 8, 9s, and 10s in each one of those at the same time. And that's the hard thing to do, right? Because a lot of people, it's easy to work 60, 70 hours and then all of a sudden your family doesn't see you and the marriage isn't going great, right? You don't want that. You want to be able to do well in all areas of your life. So for me, that's what real wealth is when you're capitalizing on all of that and doing really well. It's more than money. So for me, I've heard the saying that wealth is not a dollar figure, but it's a mindset. And that's what I thought about a lot, is wealth and wealth creation and living in that abundancy. Money is just one of those things, and money's just a tool. What are we doing with our time? What are we doing with our day? And that's what we want for people. And that's obviously in part why we started Cornerstone. And one of our goals with Cornerstone is not just to make our money or our clients a lot of money, which we do, but it's also to bring opportunity to our own community and to our staff people and giving back to the community like we do. We're one of those businesses that's not just growing and having more employees and taking care of our people, but we also take care of our community. And a lot of that is giving of our time that we do, and then obviously writing checks too for sponsoring dozens of nonprofits and what we do. I mean, that for me, that's abundancy, winning in business, but also winning in life.
Well, that's a big win. I remember before we even started, you told that story. We were at the Lincoln Day dinner, and you saw others that kind of led by that example in the community. They were raising the paddles, and they were donating, and they were giving for good causes. And I remember you telling me that you wanted to do that, and I think that's great, because that's something I've always loved to do, right? Like I always want to be giving back as much as we can. And, it takes building that wealth by intention to be able to do that. It takes growing a business. It takes taking the time, being intentional in the little things every day to then get to a place where you can, make that donation, raise your hand, yes, call on me, and so I love that. That's one of the things that I'm grateful that we, always kind of had that vision together. So
yeah, I'll never forget being at that fundraiser all those years ago and watching community leaders and people that I respected, raise their paddle. And I think you and I raised our paddle, but it was at probably the $25 level at the time.
That's
and
right.
I just felt small, and I knew my capacity to grow and to do more and to build wealth in my life. And obviously we've been on this journey for a lot of years and have been successful. And a part of us now, of course, is sharing these principles and sharing the success with others, not just to keep it for ourselves. We were born in the greatest country and the greatest time in history, and we have all these opportunities, and we want to be able to share with people. So we're going to be doing not just podcasts, but putting out content that not only educates people, but also just encourages them in these
want to motivate
principles.
and inspire.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and so mentioning that and talking about different things, that again, being intentional about what we're doing. You mentioned those community leaders and those folks at that fundraiser, and so I want to talk a little bit about networking and the importance of it and growing that network, and again, being intentional in that. And a lot of wealth we've been able to build out of that network, again, not just monetarily, but a lot of the relationships. I mean, how many backpacking trips or golf trips or tournaments and just get-togethers have there been just out of creating that network, where we're not only benefiting from the relationship professionally, we're able to build each other up and enjoy that time together, but we're benefiting from it personally. We have great relationships, build good friendships out of that network, and now we can help each other succeed in our own businesses, in our own careers, in our own lives. So yeah, networking is powerful.
It's everything, business success as well as life. It's all about relationships, and it comes back to people. We often say it around the chamber, your network is your net worth. And if you want to elevate your life, you got to get into the right rooms and be around the right people. If you want to be a long distance runner, go spend time with long distance runners. You want to be a CEO, start spending time with CEO. And a lot of young people just don't understand that they don't think that they can be around those people, or those people don't want to be around them. And the truth is, you just got to ask. You just got to show up. And we say often that the future belongs to those that show up. And that's what you got to do. You keep showing up, keep learning. Even if you're a fly on the wall to start, all of a sudden these people get to know your name. You build these relationships, whether it's coffee or golf. And all of a sudden they become friends and mentors in a network that you can help leverage. You cannot be successful alone, not just in life, but also in business. We need one another. And we've been preaching that at Cornerstone for a lot of years. And what we love doing is connecting people, right? And helping to elevate people, inviting people to things, a lot of community events, and just being engaged.
Well, and you mentioned it earlier, you can't succeed alone. We were created for community, right? Like, we're supposed to be in community. When you isolate and you pull yourself out of that, it makes that road, not impossible, but boy, it sure gets rough. So I don't know. I like that. I think that we definitely need to, they say that you are the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, or that you, I guess, would connect with. So, who are those people that you're putting around you that help you grow? Your spouse can be someone to help you grow. Your best friend can be someone to help you grow. Other community leaders and folks and other, maybe it's entrepreneurs, or like you said, if you want to be a long distance runner, start spending time with long distance runners. Who is it that you want to be? How is it that you want to conduct your business? Go find those people and start spending time with them. You got to, just like you always say, you got to get in the room.
You got to get in the room, and you got to be intentional about it. And I look at my life, and a lot of my successes were afforded to me by human beings. It wasn't necessarily hard work or education or those type of things. It was being connected with human beings that gave me a shot, that gave me an opportunity. And then I was there in the room, and I had the relationships, so I utilized it and took those opportunities. So if I was especially a young entrepreneur, I'd be doubling down on getting in those right rooms and being around the right people. And if you want to be in business, go spend time with people that are 10, 20, 30 years ahead of you in business, and just be in the room with them, be around them, and watch your life change.
So you would say, obviously, get in the room, because I know we both agree that get in the room, have the personal connections, but it's not a waste of time to take an afternoon and go just have meetings, or sit down, have lunch, have coffee, go golfing. It's not a waste of time to do those things. Break away from the computer, break away from the desk, go and spend that time and make that connection and network.
That's it. And in the Rogue Valley especially, we're not 6 degrees of separation. You're one person and one relationship away from something that will elevate your life in giant ways. So, a part of it is that consistency. You don't just show up one week or one event. You got to show up week after week. And sometimes it takes years to foster and to build relationships. But that's what it takes. And if you want to be successful in life and successful in business, you got to have a powerful network. So one tool that's changed my life dramatically, and I always share with people, is to have that abundant, positive mindset. And the truth is, it's a choice. Success is a choice. Having that mindset is a choice, and it's a morning routine to commit to. And nothing will change your life more. And within this, something that really impacted my life is knowing and understanding what are we depositing into our mind daily, because what you put in is what comes out.
That's right.
You know, and the proverb says, you know, as a man thinketh, so is he. So the greatest way to actually change is actually to work on yourself and actually change your mind. And that's the hard part. That's the lifelong journey of the professional development journey, and just having that self-awareness of the people you surround yourself with, family, friends, your network, all these things of what's being programmed and put in your mind is so important. And that's what's so incredible about today with podcasts and books, and we can literally program our mind for good things, and we need to be doing that because what we put into our mind comes out of our mind. I heard some research the other day that self-chatter and the way that people think, there's been some recent research that shows that over 80% of what people think about in the self-chatter in their own minds is negative.
Yeah.
And they're beating themselves down throughout the day, and they wonder why they manifest so many negative things. Well, they're talking negative to themselves.
Speaking it to
They're
themselves.
literally speaking negativity into their life instead of speaking good things and positive and power into their lives.
Wow. I think that we're probably, so many of us could go that way, right? Like, I know I'm guilty of that at times. So I'm probably my biggest critic.
Yeah.
But the Apostle Paul tells us to think about things that are true, that are noble, that are right, that are pure, that are lovely, that are admirable. Anything that is excellent or praiseworthy, to think about such things. So put those things into your mind. And what are you doing? I've heard it said, I don't know the exact statistic, but it takes like 3 seconds to believe a negative thought about yourself, but it takes like 90 seconds to actually believe the positive. So it's so much easier for us to turn right into the negative. So many people get trapped in that and turn to it because it's quick and it's easy, right?
Yep.
But if we can actually tell ourselves and speak to ourselves and remind us of who God says we are and those things, right? Of what we were created to do. You can speak that life into yourself, and then that will pour out, and you can speak it into others around you. And that's part of what we want to be doing here with this communication. We want to be speaking that life over people, and so that they get the opportunity to go, oh man, okay, if these guys can do it, I can do it, right? Like,
and that's it. And we all have people in our lives, hopefully, that are pouring the good things into our minds.
Yeah.
And if we don't, something that changed my life dramatically, and I've been doing it probably for dang near a decade now, is the positive affirmations, because you're not always around people, so you yourself have to remind yourself about things, right? And that's where you need to tell yourself good things and positive things. So one thing that has really impacted me, and I do it in the morning just to carry momentum in the day, is I have a whole list of positive affirmations that I say, especially in the morning, but I say throughout the day, and I'm telling myself and I'm reminding myself about these truths, because we forget. Sometimes we go a couple hours and you forget. So I would encourage people. I used to laugh about this stuff when I first heard it, and then I slowly started incorporating it into my life, and I started seeing the fruits. But if you've never done positive affirmations, come up with a statement and say it to yourself, true statements. And you got to say it. Sometimes you got to say it 50 times a day. And part of it is you got to sell yourself sometimes on these truths, because we're such critics, and we live in the doubt land, and there's so much darkness and just so much negativity out there, is that you got to be putting these positive things into your mind. If you don't have people in your life that's doing it, you literally have to do it for yourself sometimes. And then again, that's the power of the network and having good people around your life. But even then, you still have to have those chattering conversations with yourself, and I hope that they're positive and reaffirming.
Speaking that life into yourself. I like that too, because there's that old phrase, right? Garbage in, garbage out. If you're speaking garbage to yourself, or if you're hearing garbage or listening to garbage, are you listening to gossip? Are you listening to hearsay? Are you watching the news? Any of these things. What are you putting in? What are you feeding yourself daily? And then what's going to come out? You're just going to be throwing up on everyone around you. But if you're putting in that positive, those affirmations like you talked about, maybe we could share some of those. If you
one that I say often is that I'm healthy, wealthy, and I'm wise.
Yeah.
Today's going to be a great day. I say that 50 times a day. And guess what? 99% it's a great day.
Right.
You know, again, it's not the outward circumstances that dictate my life. It's my own self and my own mind.
Right.
And when we're in that position to make those choices, and that's the abundance for me, is that it doesn't matter the circumstances. It doesn't matter what's happening in the news and the national media. It doesn't affect me now. It used to, and I started designing my life and making choices to make sure that I'm strong, so I can be strong for my family and friends and my community. Because if you're listening to certain things and you wonder why so much of society is so beat down, is because they're listening and they're imparting these things and they're not having that positive things within their life. You can hear it. You know, I in my position, I get to meet a lot of great people constantly in our community, and I kid you not, within 8 seconds, I know. It's either the way that you speak. They call it the language of the poor, the poverty mindset. You can hear it spew out of people. You know, are they a victim? Are they blaming? Are they whining? All this stuff.
Right.
Or conversely, you talk to people that just speak forth opportunity, and they're positive, and even in difficult situations, they're always finding the good. And when I meet people, usually within 10 seconds, you can tell what side of the line people are living on. Are they living in scarcity? Or are they living in that abundance?
I love it. It's true.